Welcome to the Millionaire Maker Show, a podcast helping online coaches monetize their life's work and scale their businesses to create more time, more money, more freedom, and more impact. Now, with over 20 years of business building, coaching, and consulting experience, here's your host, author, speaker, and creator of the Millionaire Maker Coaching Funnel, Lindsay Anderson.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Millionaire Maker Show, your podcast that teaches you how to build a profitable coaching business full of those right fit clients. I'm Lindsay Anderson, your resident expert in helping you do just that. I help coaches in two different ways. The first way is I help coaches with my done-for-you agency called the Build and Monetize Agency. Within that agency, we offer a plethora of done-for-you work, which includes websites, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, copywriting, landing pages, anything you need for your coaching business. The other side of my company is Lindsay Anderson Coaching, where I run my very own profitable coaching business. I sell courses, I sell coaching programs, I sell one-on-one coaching programs. And that unique perspective combined with my expertise in helping coaches in a done-for-you way gives me unparalleled access to knowing what is working right now to grow your coaching business in the easiest, most profitable way. And that's exactly why you want to be listening to this podcast. So, before I hop into today's episode, I gotta tell you this. Speaking of my agency just put out a brand new sizzling hot website, and that is my very own. We went and redid my website. You definitely want to head over to lindsayaa.com, see what we have going on there, and make sure you click on the free resources tab or scroll down that homepage to pick from a plethora of free resources I have for you, depending on what you are needing right now in your coaching business. I've got a free quiz called Unlock Your Coaching Business Breakthrough. If you've been stuck at a certain level of income for the last year and you just cannot seem to break free, make sure you get your hands on that quiz. I know everything about coaching businesses from when they're just starting out all the way up through a mature $1 million coaching business, and that quiz will give you curated answers and answer your most pressing questions about what is keeping you stuck in your coaching business right now. The second amazing option I have over there is a free guide. If you are trying to fill your coaching programs with social media, you're doing the right thing, but if it's not working for you, make sure you go get my free guide called Fill Your Coaching Programs Like Clockwork with my simple social content strategy. That's available for you right there on the website. And finally, okay, put your pen down. Pull over on the side of the road. If you're listening to this, I will be putting on my free workshop called Fill Your Coaching Programs with Social Media. Over the course of 5 days, I will teach you what I know about how to build a profitable coaching business, how to generate and attract right fit clients on social media without having to spend tons and tons of time doing this. And then finally, how to get those individuals off of social media and into your programs. Make sure you join me for this very valuable week. You can just head over to fillyourcoachingprograms.live, put it on your calendar, time block this thing, and join me for an entire week. And I promise I will revolutionize the way you are doing your coaching business. I will make it easier. I will give you the shortcuts. I will tell you about how to not make the mistakes that I have made over the past 20 years. Fact is, I made those mistakes so you don't have to. So I look forward to seeing you at the workshop. Now, let's talk about today's podcast interview. It's with a customer of mine, Matt. Now, Matt is a financial coach in the realm of real estate and entrepreneurship. He shares in this episode how he has fought off personal adversity and financial struggles, and he's really been able to take these things in his life and transform them into a dynamic coaching business. Matt lays out the groundwork for how he's applied his personal life story to his coaching business, and he gives us a step-by-step system on how he's attracting and converting right fit clients from social media. He doesn't hold anything back. It's a powerful episode. I can't wait for you to hear it. Let's dive in. Hey, Matt, welcome to the show. So glad you're here. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah. So, hey, Lindsay, always great to see you. So at the core, I'm a financial coach and a wealth builder for real estate agents, entrepreneurs, and couples. At the core, that's what I help people do, is create stress-free wealth by stabilizing the present to structure the future.
What I've always really liked about you, Matt, is that you are highly niched. You know who you serve and you know how to help them. Can you tell us a little bit how you got into that?
Yeah. So, a lot of it's through my own personal journey of, finance and transformation, right? I mean, it all goes back to, losing first of all, becoming aware of that I was 300 pounds, an alcoholic, addictive sports gambler, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. That led to all of this, right? I just didn't wake up and say, hey, I'm going to go coach real estate agents on their money, right? I was an absolute mess a decade ago, right? I mean, this whole process is a decade long, but through that transformation, I found real estate because I needed to go make more money, because I learned how I was spending money was not the right way to spend money. So real estate was the way that I could go impact myself, because it allowed me to go sell the biggest widget. And I knew a bunch of real estate agents. So as I was going down my journey of paying off $500,000 worth of debt with my wife, and started selling real estate, I started having conversations with real estate agents about what we did, our story. And that unfolded and just uncovered such an opportunity to go teach and coach and consult real estate agents and business owners and entrepreneurs in that space, to go truly how to pay off debt, become free, create stress-free wealth, and to go live a life that they desire and, design, not by default.
I love that. But I want to back up a little bit. I'm not going to let you get away with just like, my life was a mess 10 years ago and here I am. What was the tipping point? I mean, it sounds like things were pretty rough for you back then. What happened to finally kick off this change for you?
Well, it wasn't that it was rough. It was just that my decisions were making it rough, right? I mean, we never had an income problem. We just had a cash flow problem. And, that spending led to different addictions. And I was an addict. I've been an addict my entire life of something. And, but my true rock bottom moment, I've had two of them significantly. One came in the form of being an alcoholic and struggling with alcohol addiction and gambling addiction. Those kind of ran parallel to each other. But my wife and I were in counseling in 2000. We got married in 10. So in 2012, beginning of 2012, we were in marriage counseling, working through a lot of the stuff. And my counselor asked me, he goes, dude, can you go 90 days without a drink? I was like, probably can, but I don't want to. And he's like, well, I've known you for 45 minutes and you've got 12 months or you're going to be dead, divorced, in jail or broke.
Wow.
So
what a great counselor.
Yeah. And he was honest with me. Right. And so I think that's also something that I, pride in my coaching business. And I know that you do in yours is, you have to be honest. Like, hey, this is the route you're going to, this is where you're going to end up if you keep going down the route that you're going. And, I didn't want to stop drinking. I didn't want to stop eating. I didn't want to stop drinking and gambling. I enjoyed that stuff. It was kind of part of my lifestyle, but I knew I was so uncomfortable in the skin and the clothes Like I didn't fit on the nice $4,000 couch that was in his office. Like I was just uncomfortable. I knew that I could affect what I put in my mouth. And I just did that. And 9
Oh,
later, I had lost 20, 25 pounds. It was easier to stop drinking. It was easier to stop smoking and gambling. And yeah, 90 days later, all of those addictions were broken.
wow.
You
What a
have it for
powerful
free.
story. Now, you were a realtor at that time?
No, I was actually I was in an outside sales position for a local company back in Virginia. And so I was just gunslinging it, right? I mean, how many appointments could I go on? How many could I close? Like I didn't know what I didn't know, but I had to go make money. And so that summer I led me to some entrepreneurship opportunities. And, that all kind of led to real estate over the next 2 to 5 years.
Okay. So now you've overcome some addictions, your life is improving, you have become a real estate agent, and you now understand the problem you solve now, which is realtors really experience this cash flow situation. They can't plan for things. Can you expand a little bit on the problems you solve specifically for them?
Yeah. So when I had my very first closing in the spring of 2017, it became very clear. I knew what I was going to do with the money because I had paid off almost all of our debt at that point. I'd gone through Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. I'd read a dozen books around personal finance and business finance. So I knew what to do with the money that I was going to make. And when I shared that with the agents in my office at lunch or something, they looked at me like I had 12 heads. And at that moment, well before I even had one coaching call, I saw that real estate agents and understood that real estate agents, the some of the biggest traps they fall into is that they're selling real estate this month to pay last year's taxes. They have to sell real estate this month to pay next month's car note. And then after over thousands of conversations, we've identified that real estate agents don't make as much as they think with broker splits and fees and commissions and all that stuff. We all spend more than we care to admit.
Fair enough.
But both of those in that cycle of, hey, we have to go do the work, sell a house, get paid. Now what keeps us like kind of strapped behind on taxes and or retirement?
I love that. So
Which now keeps everybody selling houses until, well into past their desired time to go sell real estate.
that's amazing. When was it you realized, "Oh my gosh, there's this coaching industry and I wanna coach real estate agents and, like, there's a real opportunity here," which you've obviously taken advantage of, but tell me about that.
Yeah, it was probably a couple of years after, once I was in real estate, and a few things had popped up. One, I was really good at selling like during the transaction. Um, or sorry, I was really good at all the stuff before the transaction. I was really bad at the stuff during the transaction. Like I'm good at, hey Lindsay, how you doing? Hey Lindsay, how are you? Like, you know, I'm really good at the business development, the prospecting, the staying in touch, the being the friend, and then just being the person that people reach out to.
Okay.
But I'm terrible at the process after that. And then once you get paid, I'm like, I know exactly what I'm going to do with $10,000 on how to go either pay off debt or build wealth. And so as we were going through this journey, right, we had paid off all of our debt. We were starting to accumulate some money. And Melinda and I started envisioning what does life look like if we don't live here in Northern Virginia?
Okay.
And so, because we had done it, like we were free, we didn't owe anybody any money. We were 100% debt free. We had a great apartment payment. We didn't have a car payment, and like life was just on easy street. And we would get these checks every quarter, right? When I sell a house, or every month, or every 60 to 70 days, right? And I'm like, all right, there's got to be a better way because if I move, right, we did not love the weather in Northern Virginia, the traffic, the congestion, just the stress. And so we started asking ourselves bigger questions on if we could live anywhere, where would it be?
Okay.
And so when we asked that, and we said, okay, great, we live here, and I sell real estate in Las Vegas or in Northern Virginia. What happens to my income the day I move?
Goes away. See you
Goes
later.
to
You don't
zero.
have freedom there.
This is in 2018 and 19, right? Working from home did not exist. for the masses.
Right.
And so I needed to figure out a way that for us to go move to wherever we wanted to live and to go buy a house, I needed to be able to flip on a computer, flip on a camera, and have conversations. It
And so
was
you got
not,
into coaching.
right then I got into coaching. And yeah, so in 2019, I locked on with a coaching company and kind of learned the coaching conversations and discovery call process. And then I went out on my own and I hired a coach at the end of 19 after I had some success, not really. I had, maybe a handful of clients that they came in, they left, they came in, they left. There was no stickiness. There was no retention. I solved some problems, but didn't offer a solution. Right.
Right.
Um, and then so when I have hired a coach and really built the game plan of having a calendar, a billing system and all of that, it was just at that point, it was just a matter of time.
Wow. So paying out your business, tell me about your coaching business now. What do you do? Like, how do you service people? What's your life like?
Yeah. So where it was I think where a lot of coaches start, which is just hand to hand combat, one-on-one calls, right? X amount of dollars a month. And we're just going to knuckles to grindstone and just get this done. And that's what I did. That's what I felt like I had to do. And it worked, right? It got us to the place that we wanted to be, right? 20
Right.
coaching clients a month. People are getting results. Like you can create a consistent, reoccurring, very nice income with very little overhead doing that way. And so after, having some success of 2 years of having 25 coaching clients a month come through the system of one-on-one, you start to look at how can I serve more people, get them a better result in less time.
Right.
Right. And so, that's actually when you and I kind of started our relationship a year and a half ago or so. As we were going through this moving process, we actually ended up moving to Las Vegas because we did it, right? We started 4 years ago, like we actually did it on what we set out to do 3 years ago. And so now, right, there's actually a process to it, right? And you're using other people's information and their journeys to just want to stay in your wake, right? I don't need to go lap anyone. Hey, if somebody else has done it, I'll just stay in your wake, right? I don't have to be the world's greatest coach. I just want to be the world's best person for my people. And so, yeah, there's an opportunity to work with our team at a group level, right? A boot camp level, like a short, hey, you don't have to spend $25,000 a year. We can start here and then figure it out along the way. There's a mastermind opportunity and there's also events and there's also one-on-one.
I love that. You've really built out an impressive coaching business since 2019. We're only in 2023. And you went from like not even, it feels like knowing much about the coaching industry to learning about it, to executing it, to now having a leveraged coaching business.
Yeah. And life has followed, right? I mean, 10 years ago, 300-pound alcoholic, addictive sports gambler, $500,000 in debt. To 5 years ago, living in like making, we made some good money. No coaching business, just real estate money, right? Maybe $100,000 a year, and living in a 1,100 square foot apartment in Reston Town Center.
Okay.
For today, living, bought a house, built a pool, backyard in Las Vegas. And, thank goodness my wife she has an incredible job and a career that allows her to work from home. And I have a coaching business and, clients that, enjoy our conversations and, their growth through their wealth journey.
Like you being a coach and you coaching, like, do you feel like that's what you like? Do you like to do that every day? Is that your calling? Tell me how you feel about being a coach, Matt.
Yeah. I get really bored if I'm not on the phone with someone helping them solve problems. Like
Okay.
I mean, we built a really cool putting green out here and I can only hit so many 6-foot putts. Like,
Right.
there was a time in my life, way back in the day where I wanted to play golf professionally. That is no longer. You can only sit in the pool for so long. You can only play so much golf, right? So I really enjoy it. I look at, hey, what's my perfect world? I'm having 3 to 5 conversations with people on a daily basis, helping them solve problems or solve a wealth journey, gap to help them go from point A to point B faster.
Yeah. What would you say, Matt, would be the secret? So many people struggle with their coaching businesses, right? And they're trying to get it off the ground. And here you are, you're leveraged. You've done it in a shorter period of time. What's your advice? Like, what was your secret to the fast track here?
It's not going to sound fun. I'll tell you that.
Okay, great.
I mean, because your listeners are coaches, right? I mean, they're
Yes,
people that or want to be coaches, right? They're listening to
they're coaches looking to scale. They want to follow your pattern, man.
Yeah. So here's where I was and the challenges that I had. Unpredictable calendar creating predictable results. That's where I was, which I think that's a lot where the real estate agents that I work with, back up, the two things that cause the most stress and anxiety for entrepreneurs, real estate agents, and couples that want to go build some, whether it's wealth or whether it's a better business or whatever, inconsistent income and financial disorganization.
Okay.
So we know that to be true. So, and that's exactly where I was. I wasn't financially disorganized, but I was disorganized on time.
Okay.
I had a totally incorrect outlook on time. I had a skewed outlook on time.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, of course. So, I would time block, right? We've all heard the word time block or the phrase time block, but however, I could look back 2 weeks from now and say, hey, I was supposed to do this, lead generate between 9 and 12, or prospect or shoot video from 9 to 12. 2 weeks later, could I prove that I actually did it? And the answer is no.
Right. Okay.
Right. So, but we can go 3 years from now and can we tell what I did at 2:00 on June 7th? Yes.
I mean, not unless you're super organized, right? Are you saying you can?
Right. Well, you can, because I can go back and say, hey, this is exactly what I talked to Lindsay in that slot. So I just needed a new view of time. So created standards and principles. One, I had to define what it was for me to win the day.
Okay.
What does it take to win the day? I think too many people try to do too many things to win the day, when all I knew is if I said, hey, if I have a call, if I sweat, work out, have a call with a prospect, and book my next call. So if I accomplish all of those things, it's just a math equation in time until I win.
I love that. Matt, you make it seem so like anyone can succeed following what you just said there if they just follow the steps.
Yeah. So if we say, hey, what are we going to do to win the day? And how many hours a week are you willing to work to go get the result that you want to get? Mine was 40. So then I determined on a calendar how many hours I'm willing to work and what hours I want to work. Because none of us as entrepreneurs or coaches have a calendar or have a schedule. 4:00 in the morning is the exact same amount of time as 3:00 in the afternoon.
Right.
So when is it that you're going to work? Because if you go to Starbucks or you go to a job or you're my wife and you have a career, they tell you show up at 9 and you leave at 4 or whatever it is, right? So I determined that, hey, these are the 40 hours a week that I'm going to work. Now, back when I was a coach, I was also a real estate agent. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to work 24 hours over here and 16 hours over here. And I stuck to it.
And you literally went into your calendar and you put in what you were going to do for those 40 hours and you knew what you were going to do.
Yeah. So I said, okay, from 9 to 3 on Mondays, I'm coaching. Now, my job at 9:00 is to have a conversation with someone.
Right.
So let's just say it's Lindsay, right?
Right.
So my job is to have a conversation. So ultimately, my job is to have Lindsay paying me thousands of dollars a year to have a conversation at 9:00 on Monday, right? That's the ultimate. Now, if I don't have that, this is where the if-then statement comes in. If I'm not talking to a coaching client that's paying me money, then I'm having a prospecting call.
Okay.
With Bob, who is a prospect. If I'm not having a call with Bob, then I'm on social media, Facebook, Instagram, I'm creating the conversation.
Okay.
At 9:00.
And is this in your calendar appointment, these if-then statements?
Yeah, these are if. So when I started, I said coaching. So there was the Google Calendar. Now I know your listeners might not be able to see this, but at 9 o'clock it said coaching. And then it also had another appointment that said discovery call. And then it had another conversation that had another appointment that said creation.
Okay.
Right. Or it had inside lingo, it was 50-25-1, which is
Okay.
our inside lingo of like business development prospect. And so if I didn't have that, then I just circled which one I did. And then I went through and I changed it to what it actually was. So then I went and deleted, hey, I didn't do this, I did this. And so the last 4 years, I can tell you exactly what I've done 95% of the time.
So I want to double down on that point because you brought that up originally. So tell us, what is the importance of being able to look back 3 years from now and see what you did on June 7th? What is the significance of that part of the process?
Well, one, it shows the people that I'm having conversations with that I'm willing to go do the work. And I've done the work, right? So,
Sure.
I just had somebody slide into my inbox this morning that said, hey, the number one reason that I'm reaching out to you is because you've shown up on social and you are the epitome of consistency over the last 3 years.
Okay.
The last thing I need is more money. I want to go do this, this, and this. And the reason I'm reaching out is because you've already shown what I'm lacking. Right. So that's number one. That's the number one thing. But I truly believe, going back to my original challenge, was inconsistent activities cause inconsistent income. I want to be able to ensure that I had consistent activities.
Makes sense. So this is like James Clear Atomic Habits kind of situation where it's everything you do during the day will lead to the life that you actually want. Now, something else I want to ask you about, Matt, you mentioned that, hey, I'm going to tell you my secret to success, but you're not going to like it or it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you see as the obstacles for people actually doing this simple process that you've laid out and like how we can give us a tip on how to combat that.
Commitment and consistency.
Okay. Expound.
Like nobody wants to do either one of those. They
Right.
say they want it, and but both are really hard. Right. And so I think the challenge is too many people think big and go big. Hey, I want to go build this $300,000, this $1 million coaching business. And that's all doable and it's possible and it's probable because other people are doing it. However, they don't have the expectation of the work that it takes. So like I set a target to have 96 conversations in 4 months.
Right.
Now,
and you did it, and you brought in these one-on-one clients. Anybody talking to 96 people is going to get one-on-one coaching clients.
I had in my first year, I did 312 one-on-one calls in 1 year.
Matt did the work. That's what you're saying, Matt. I did the work. I put in the time and I'm reaping the rewards, period.
And it went from, very quickly $200 to $2,000 to $20,000 a month.
Right.
Very quickly. Right. And there are still people in my calendar today that were in there in the beginning of 2020.
I love that. If I want to have this $1 million coaching business and what Matt is saying is making a lot of sense, do I just go sit down at my calendar and outline it and then treat myself as my own job, as I would treat any employer, is what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think because that's a huge hurdle, especially in the world that I play in, which is entrepreneurship and real estate agent.
Yeah.
Right. There's no eXp Realty does not give you a calendar that says, hey, do this.
Right.
Keller Williams and Coldwell Banker and all the other, they just don't do it. Right. The board of real estate agents gives you a license and go. Good luck.
Okay. So
right.
This is, I got to put this out there, Matt, because I actually just want to hear your response to it, which is I can hear people already. Well, I got into the coaching business for flexibility and freedom. I don't want to be time blocking my calendar from 9 to 5, Matt. What do you say to that?
Do you want $1 million house in Las Vegas? Like, do you want the passive income? Do you want the reoccurring income? Do you want the jet or the travel or the lifestyle? Like you have to do the work for a somewhat of a period of time. Right. Yep. Now, there was a time in my life in the last 4 years where I cringed at my calendar. 25 one-on-one calls once a week, every week.
Yeah.
That will cripple someone over and
Brutal.
over and over, right? Now, there are people that I'm in relationship with that do it, and they do it at an ultra high level, and it gives them energy and whatever. That's cool. And that was fine for a season. What else was I going to do? Right? It was humid. It rained. It was cold. It snowed. I lived in Northern Virginia. Every time you looked outside, it was traffic. What else was I going to do? So my encouragement is I wrote an ebook called The 5 Financial Mistakes Agents Make, and it's generally the 5 financial mistakes entrepreneurs make. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the first mistake is people don't know when they're going to stop doing what they're doing.
Let's hop over and talk a little bit about marketing and sales. Can you tell us a little bit about what your strategy is? What's working for you right now?
Yeah. So, my biggest asset when it comes to attracting people into my world are my client stories. First, it was my story. Right? So if you're looking at a coach, or if you're trying to be a coach, or you're looking to get into coaching, like, what's your story, right? What's your transformation story into your business? A friend of mine says, what's your mess that you've turned into your message?
Oh, I like that. Yes.
Right? And then can you get some quick wins, right, for your clients? And so my marketing was always very organic, copywritten on Facebook.
Mostly Facebook. Facebook personal, right?
Facebook personal. And, my coach challenged me. It was a little over 4 years ago. It's 2020. So maybe 3 years ago, May of 2020. I'll call it, I'm not the best Facebook person on the world, but like some of my posts, they got some traction, right? I'm fairly opinionated on a couple of things. And I threw out the jokes, and I put my wife at the very front of our relationship, and everybody generally is attracted to like happy couples and stuff like that. But I wasn't as consistent as I could have been. And he challenged me to figure out what my number was. $100,000. I needed $100,000 in the bank to make this move to Las Vegas. And so we determined that it was $274 a day would equal $1,000 or $100,000. And he said, do you believe if you made a Facebook post every day for an entire year, you could save $100,000? And I said, yes. And he said, great. If you miss a day, you have to burn $274 live on Facebook.
Wow. Okay. So did you do it every day for a year?
I haven't missed a day since May 20-something, 2020. And
That's
so
amazing.
those Facebook posts are what generate my business. And it's not necessarily the post that generates the outreach. It's the liking, the commenting, the engaging on that post, and then building the relationship with the people that engage with that post.
Right.
And it's truly going back to, hey, remember, hey, we need 96 calls in the first 4 months. Hey, we need to have a call, book a call every day. That's just doing the work. And so if you go back to those if-then statements of, hey, if I'm not coaching and I'm not having a prospecting call, right? If I'm this, then that. If I'm not having a prospect call, then I'm on social engaging with the people who have already engaged with me.
And what does that look like? Engaging with the people who have already engaged with you. What are you doing?
I'm genuinely like, there's a part of this that just says, hey, you can go hire a robot to do it.
Right.
But I'm genuinely going to Lindsay's Facebook page. I'm looking at your recent 2 or 3 posts. I'm engaging in that post. I'm adding a comment. I'm dropping a share. I'm doing whatever. And as that relationship starts to build, then you earn the right to go into the DMs.
I love that. I love that, Matt. You make it seem so simple, and it's just engaging with people authentically, and you just outlined it for us.
Yeah, it's truly having conversations with people that want to have conversations with.
Right. Right. So I want to talk about 365 days of content. What's your strategy there? What are you doing there?
There's not a huge There's not a calendar. Like, so I actually don't have a calendar, a content calendar. One of the things that I've done is I listen to a lot of podcasts and I read a lot of books and I write down a lot of thoughts and I do a lot of journaling. And I've had success in several areas of transformation in several areas of life. And we go through a lot of things and I know what people are attracted to.
Sure.
Me getting on Facebook and saying, y'all need to do a budget is going to get 4 likes and no comments.
Right.
Right. Me posting a picture of Melinda climbing a rock in our new house in Las Vegas, 400 likes, 32 comments. So you just kind of blend that into where, people see it. And half of the comments and the likes are just people numb to just liking and commenting and, double tapping and stuff. But I don't think it takes 365. I think if you set a challenge to go do it once a week, you'll see your engagement go up. And you don't have to create this stuff. Like, the world is already creating it for us.
Right.
I mean, half the stuff I post is from Dave Ramsey's Facebook page or Instagram page.
Right.
All I do is I take the image and I put my thought or my caption to it.
Right.
That's it. Or Grant Cardone or Lindsay.
Matt, but I think it's right. I think you're right.
Right. Or James Clear or Mark Batterson or any of the authors or people that you like the world is filled with creators.
Yes.
And you are gifted your voice and your opinion. Take what they've already created, put your voice and opinion to it, and now you have content.
And add a little personal touch, like a friendly picture that's not a stock photo, essentially.
Yeah. Take a selfie. Like, one of the things I'm doing now is 7 days of what my day is. Right. On stories, not on Facebook. But if you go to my Instagram stories, I have not done it today, but it's just a selfie. But it's like 6 coaching calls, podcasts, this, and this with some music, right? And it's not even the trending cool music. It's just,
music. I love it, Matt. It's so simple, such a simple strategy. You're using Facebook to authentically connect with potential customers and current customers. I think it's awesome. So thank you for sharing that.
Cool.
So I'm going to finish us up with one question, which is, here you are at this place in your life. You have a successful coaching business. What is one thing you wish you would have known before you started?
One thing I wish I would have known before I started. I wish I would have started out maybe a lower ticket item, like had more. Actually, I wish I would have started out with more than one way of people to work with me.
Okay, because it was just one-on-one coaching.
It was just one-on-one. It was a big ticket, and not to say that I did anything wrong. I think looking back, that if I would have done that, 2 things. One, if I would have done that and said, "Hey, I have 2 options. You pick the one that's best for you," or I think here's where you should start. I think my business would look a little different today. And just like everyone else, I wish I would have hit the record camera a long time ago.
I love it. Matt, thank you so much. You've really helped us understand a good scheduling, starting with the end in mind. You've really dropped a lot of really valuable information. So I'm going to turn the time over to you. Please tell us how to find you and anything else you'd want the audience to know.
Yeah. So best, easiest ways to connect with me on Facebook, on Instagram at Coach Matt Plumer on Instagram, Matt Plumer on Facebook, 1M no B. And my free download for gift for you all is the number 5 financialmistakes.com, www.5financialmistakes.com. You get a free download to a 25 page ebook that'll walk you through some mistakes. You'll be able to get into my world that way. You can jump right into my budget hacking Facebook group. And that's the best place, the easiest way for us to connect.
I love that. Thank you, Matt, so much for being a guest on the show.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Well, there you have it, folks. Another amazing episode of the Millionaire Maker Show in the books. A big thank you to Matt. I hope you got as much as I did from that powerful interview. So, as a reminder, make sure you head over to lindsaya.com. Check out the new website. Get your hands on any of the freebies that you think that you need, and make sure you head over to fillyourcoachingprograms.live. This thing is free. You definitely want to come to this if you have a coaching business. So, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Millionaire Maker Show. Cheers to you and your success.
Thank you for listening to the Millionaire Maker Show with master business coach and creator of the Millionaire Maker Coaching Funnel, Lindsay Anderson. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Until next time.